Aaron, good morning.
Good morning.
So today, pillar number 4, kingdom citizen. What does it mean to be a kingdom citizen?
It's very important, Jaco, to understand that in the Bible tells us that God has made us, when you accepted Jesus Christ, He made us members of the body of Jesus Christ. But in terms of our functioning, we are not members of a club, if you can say it like that. We're so much used to become a member of something, and the concept of membership is, I become a member, I've got my fees to pay, and then what is the service that you're going to render unto me? While the concept of citizenship is a total different concept. It's a concept of origin. I'm coming from an origin. I was sent on a mission, and I've got a responsibility, and there's something for me to do and to live and to execute. That's what citizenship is all about. And therefore, the word around, ecclesia, we are the called out ones to live a life, to extend the kingdom and to live the kingdom. It is not a situation where we become something, where we are served in something and it's like a club or whatever. We are not a club. We are citizens of a kingdom with a mission. It's a legal term that covers us from the back, but has given us a mission in this world to do.
So how do we become a citizen?
The Bible tells us that we need to, God came in Christ and He served us. He sorted out the whole problem of sin, everything that disqualified us for the kingdom that came out of the fall of man. So He sorted that thing out. That is a whole story on its own. And now we are qualified again. And He did that out of unconditional love. And He now qualified us again. And He invited us to reintroduce us into the kingdom. But we need to bow before the King. We need to surrender before the King, because it's important that God is a King and a Father. Yes, as a Father He came to serve us, but to come back to a kingdom, you need to bow before the King. Therefore, entrance into the kingdom is surrendering your life totally unto the King. And that is the heart of the thing. And we used to accepting Jesus Christ, that's fine. We need to accept Jesus Christ. But we think in terms of our salvation, I need to accept Jesus Christ so that I can get settled or solved in terms of my sin problem, my guilt problem. But the kingdom is not about only sorting out your sin problem that disqualified you, because that only disqualified you. But coming into the kingdom is about coming under the King for a new mission, for a new lifestyle, for a new thinking, a new way of living, a new culture, a new vision, a new mission. Everything is now new. The old stuff, yes, is taken away, but we come into something new, and that is very important. And we're not just accepting Jesus and okay, we can let her go on, we're just waiting for the rapture or the Jesus coming back, No, we become part of a kingdom where there's a total new command system, operational system, a new lifestyle, and that we need to live here on earth, not in heaven, on earth.
On earth. Sure. So please help me understand, what is the privileges of being a citizen?
You see, when we think in terms of kingdom, remember Jesus said He brought us the gospel of the kingdom. He said it numerous times in Matthew. He brought us the gospel of the kingdom of heaven, because the original plan of God was to replicate the kingdom of heaven on earth. That was the plan, so that we can, and the agents that was sent here to replicate it was us, man, human beings. And our purpose is to replicate it, but we must think that we are sent from the King, out of a kingdom. Therefore, we are mandated by the King. We are provided by the King. We are protected by the King. We are under the supervision of the King. You see, in the kingdom, everything is given by the King and done by the King. And we just need to go and proclaim and live and execute and call it unto whatever the mission is. We are not here to produce anything. It's like an ambassador in a country, The home country provides everything. The home, the vehicles, the petrol, everything. All that person must do is he must stay near to the heart of the president, and he must speak the heart of the president and the words of the president.
Represent him.
He must represent him in the fullness of words and action and attitudes and everything. And the rest is sponsored and mandated. It's very important to understand that we are mandated by God. We are not here, now we have accepted salvation, very nice, okay, we're now going to heaven. But now we can just float through earth and do some stuff, what. No, we are mandated. Everything we need on earth in our creative purpose as human beings and in marriage and in congregation life, which unit you want to talk about is not the issue, are mandated by God, provided by God. And we are in His legal framework. So if something goes wrong, He backs us and He sorts it out and He takes responsibility for it. So that we are not the people that is under the pressure. We are here to focus on our relationship with the King and the Father and to execute His will. Therefore, we see that Jesus always said, I came to show you the Father. I came to speak the words of the Father. I came to do the works of the Father. I'm here on His mission. I'm here to manifest Him. That is what I'm here for. And that's what we are here for.
Absolutely. So tell me, how does the kingdom influence the definition of gospel?
It's very important. You see, I always talk about, and I know people always don't like it, but I talk about the gospel of salvation, or maybe sometimes you can call it the sin gospel, versus a gospel of the kingdom of God. Now, it's not that Jesus is not Jesus is in both. I mean, there's enough in both of them to, let's say, to reach heaven, if you can say it like that. But there's a vast difference between the two, because the gospel of salvation, or this that is focusing on sin and the problem and the guilt and the devil and everything that's wrong, and even Jesus didn't fix everything, so the wrong is still here and the old nature, and so this whole sin thing is always creeping alongside with us all the way, and everything is about conquering this whole sin problem that Jesus solved at the cross. Yes, because of lack of knowledge, we can still live in it, but Jesus solved the sin problem. The gospel of the kingdom came and He said, yes, there was a sin problem, Jesus solved it, but the new command now is to live life in abundance, live it on earth, live it in fullness. We are no longer worried about everything that's wrong because Jesus sorted it. That's why the king came for it. This gospel of salvation is only focused upon the salvation from sin that was necessary to qualify us to enter the kingdom, for sure. But listen, it's not about just to qualify to enter. It's about entering the kingdom and living the kingdom. That is the focus. It's not why, okay, I accept it, so it's fine. I'm just in, I'm just in. No, we're not supposed to be just in. We're supposed to be fully in, fully execute, fully live the kingdom, and fully leave the sin chapter behind us, because the old things have passed. Everything is now new. And we need to focus on the new and live the new. And stop this excuse gospel where, we must realize we sinners, we're still here on earth, and we've got a sin nature and this, everything just thinking the negative out of the sin problem, disqualifying us for not living the kingdom. Well, God says there's no reason why you cannot live the fullness of the kingdom, except that we get stuck in the sin gospel, get stuck with sin, and we do not see that God has really solved the sin problem, so that we can get into the kingdom stuff and no longer just sit and talk about the negative and start executing something positive.
Continually living under that condemnation.
Yes.
I know you touched on this in Pillar 3, but what does it mean that the kingdom is in us? I know you've referred to Luke 17, 20, 21 before, and how does it tie in with Romans 14, 17?
You see, it's important to understand that kingdom, we also, the definition of kingdom, we think of like the United Kingdom. Britain is United Kingdom. We think of a place, You see, God's kingdom is a spiritual kingdom. The kingdom is where the king is. You see, the kingdom flows out of the king. That is the kingdom. Of course, there is a kingdom of heaven as a place, if you can say it like that. But the place only become a kingdom because the king is there. That's very important. If the king sleeps tonight in my home becomes the palace. You see, the king is the kingdom. The king is the Lord. The king is everything. Everything is personalized in the king. And now the king comes and he lives in us. And now we become the government, the influence, that influence that's going out of us, that's flowing out of us and influencing things in a certain way is called the kingdom. And that's what we see in people. When we see a person that's living the kingdom, you see a person that's living a certain attitude. He's living with certain disciplines. He's living with a certain, atmosphere, but it's flowing out of him, even though he's even not speaking. When someone enters a room, he enters with an atmosphere around him.
Correct.
And that atmosphere is the kingdom. Yes, it might be, not a properly manifested, maybe more better or whatever, but whatever is flowing out of us from the king that's staying inside of us is the kingdom. So wherever I go into my work, in all my relationships or at work or wherever I meet with people, I am busy flowing in this kingdom. I'm busy influencing people, and that flow is ministry. That is ministry. Ministry is not a name. We can give it a name. It's not wrong. We can define it. Of course, we need to define it. But at the end of the day, we can do all the outward stuff. But the real ministry is the flow of the kingdom from within to the outside. That is what the kingdom is all about, that we must really focus on. The kingdom is an influence from the king that's now inside of me, flowing and influencing things unto a place where the values of the kingdom of heaven starts to manifest here, eventually.
Okay, great. So what are the implications that God is a king with a father's heart? What's the implication that we experience?
It's very important to understand that God is a king with a father heart. It is the origin of actually everything of our structure on earth. It's a very important principle. You see, we used to talk about the Father because it is the Father that, let's say, he came to us. In the Bible it says the Father was the action one in Jesus that came to us, that loved us and whatever. But the King has got a kingdom, and the kingdom is sort of the background. I mean, as we sit here, we can have a nice conversation, but there's a background here. At the moment, if the background is not here and someone is running around here with an AK-47, we're not sitting like this, But we are not focusing on the background, but the background gives the possibility of the relationships that can be very good, because everything needs to manifest in a relationship, of course. But the relationship needs a background of a king, of legal stuff. That's why before you can live with that woman you've chosen, you need to sign the contract, the marriage contract. Before they give you the keys of the car, you need to pay the bank and that they can, and the person you buy the car from. Everything in life has got a background. As we sit here, there's a background. There's a person that's got the cart and transport of this building. There's an owner of this building. We haven't been talking about it since I've known you, but there's someone that's got it, whoever it is. And and there's a reason, there's a legal agreement that you have with the people because you can be here. But we don't focus on that. That is the background. You see, but we constantly picking up problems in our relationship with people and with the Father because the background is not in line. We need the background in line. That's why, say, maybe people that's living together, a man and a wife that's staying together but not married, it's like, we have a relationship, but we don't have a commitment. You see, the King brings us the commitment. The King says, listen, before you enter my kingdom, I need a commitment from you because I've got a commitment to you. The fact that I am still with you is not because you sinned or not sinned. It's because before I created you, I committed to be with you whatever happened along the road. That's why God is still involved with man. It's not because of anything in the relationship. It's because of the king and the background. There's a legal background where God said, I create Adam as mine. I will never leave him. I will never forsake him. He will one day walk away from me. I will not ever walk away from him. You see, and that's why we need to understand why the kingdom is so important. Yes, we don't talk every day about the kingdom, but the kingdom is the foundation. You see, I always say to people, we don't build a marriage on love. It sounds like, wow, what you're saying now. You build a marriage on commitment. Commitment, obedience, responsibility, serving. You build it on this with love.
Yes.
You see, of course we need love, but listen, when we don't feel we love each other, maybe today, what's keeping us together? It's the commitment that keeps us together. I mean, God had all the reason to leave man on earth, but his commitment kept him connected with man and say, listen, I'm not going to leave this guy.
That father's heart.
Yeah. But we must understand the father is not this glorious father without the king. And the king is not this wonderful king without the father. They both together in one person. As we find even in your own life, you are the head of the home, you are the authority of the home, but you are also the priest of the home. You are the king in life, but you also are the lamb. You always have these two things running together. That is making the two tracks of life on which we build everything. It's not the one or the other. It's always both. Always both. And if we're lacking on one side, we're currently in a situation where we've got lots of fatherhood stuff. That's beautiful. I don't think we have ever came to the bottom of it. But we're sort of drifting away from the king. We don't know, forget about the lines, forget about the obedience, it's okay, man. Just, I understand your heart is sore and whatever. Yes, there's an emotional, relational side, but there's a commitment, there's a line, there's obedience. There's no issue about it, because this will protect this one. And most people get into love problems, not because they do not have a heart that wants to love, but because there's not lines. There's not commitment.
A train can't run on one track.
No.
Well, that's it, Arne. Thank you very much. Next week, pillar number 5, I believe.
Yes.
Excellent. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.